Why do I love martial arts so much? Because martial arts represents balance. Martial art is the study of yin and yang. More appropriately, it's yang and yin. And the martial is the yang, and the art is the yin. And what this represents is this dualistic nature of life. And the yin and the yang comes through the Taoist philosophy. And that my upbringing in the martial arts was in the Taoist martial arts. And so now it's, jiu-jitsu, which is a much more of a modern evolution of the grappling arts. But the idea about martial art is it embodies the dualistic nature of life and of the individual. And so the martial, well, that's the warfare, that's the fighting. And we can equate that to the animalistic side of us or the beast side, or the shadow side, if you will. And this is the side that is willing to kill. And then the art is the creative aspect. The art is the inspiration. The art is the expression. And so the martial artist simultaneously is studying the military arts or the war arts, and simultaneously the self-cultivation. And there's many different practices traditionally. And even though I consider, in terms of unarmed combat, I consider jiu-jitsu a much more efficient and effective martial art for just one-on-one unarmed combat. I would say the Chinese martial arts are much more comprehensive in terms of the art aspect, whereas the jiu-jitsu is, I think, more martial. But they all have aspects of the martial and the art. And traditionally, the art can consist of aspects such as meditation, Qigong, the medicinal aspect, the use of Chinese herbs and massage and bone setting and acupuncture and moxibustion and cupping and other types of healing modalities, also calligraphy and poetry and music. And so these are the art aspects and cultivation and development of the individual to be well-rounded. As they say in the Chinese, the 5 excellences, right? A well-developed individual. And of course, the martial, that's much more primitive in the sense of it's about fighting, right? Or hunting. And we have both aspects within ourselves. And so the work is to create a balance and the appropriate use at appropriate times. We are all capable of being violent, of being aggressive, of being nasty, of being mean, of being rude. Again, that shadow, that beast that can come out. However, it needs to be disciplined. And if it's not disciplined, then it comes at it inappropriate times. And it can come out to such a degree that mistakes can be made that can never be corrected. So it's really important to cultivate the self-discipline along side by side with the development of the martial prowess. Because if someone is just a fighter and they are not cultured and they are not disciplined, well, they are really a pox on society and they are a danger to themselves and others. Conversely, if you are an artist and you are creative, and you are peaceful and loving and looking to progress humanity forward, which is all noble, and yet you lack the fundamental martial, well, you're also a danger, because you will not be capable to take appropriate action in such time that it would be required to use violence, whether it's just defending yourself and your family. And so this balance is extremely important. And even, for example, the idea of, not all people, but most people, especially nowadays as compared to a few generations back, most people around the world have a herbivore diet, which is a balance of carnivore. We're not carnivores, even though people like to call themselves carnivores. Like, we don't have sharp fangs and claws. Like, look in a tiger's mouth, look in a lion's mouth, right? Those are carnivores. Bears, we are not that. Our teeth is for gnashing, right? Our intestines are very long, they're not short, right? So true carnivores, they have very short intestines because the meat starts to ferment if it doesn't digest quickly, and because the intestines, right, our intestines are extremely long, considering our body size, and and so the long intestinal tract and the type of teeth that we have is really indicative of the fact that much of the human experience is based upon eating foods that require a lot of chewing, and it's not like just ripping into it even though some people don't chew their food very effectively. So anyway, the point being about that in this discussion is that if you eat animals, well, that is that's a form of killing, right? You're willing to kill in order to live. Now, maybe you're not a hunter. I'm not a hunter, and most of us that live in the cities, we go to the market to get our foods, right? So we buy a package of meat, but still we're contributing, like the supply and demand. So we are still contributing to the killing of the animal in order so that we can live. And I'm not casting judgment, and I'm not being hypocritical, because I was vegan for 6 years, and I'm no longer vegan, and I do eat meat. However, just being as impartial and clear about this. And so I've accepted within myself there is an aspect within me that is a beast, that is an animal, and that is willing to harm, that is willing to kill, and yet at the same time my intellect and my awareness is focused on the artist, which is the self-development and the progression of myself and how I can contribute to society. And so this idea of the martial art and how it represents the dualistic nature, and we have to find that integration and balance, not let either aspect of that equation get excessive or deficient, but appropriate action for the appropriate moments. And so this is the idea of the martial art.